On the other end of our obedience is a ripple of faith waiting to happen. 4 years ago, a military coup plunged Myanmar into a devastating civil war. The Southern-controlled military government took over, while tribal regions in the north, with many Christians among them, rose up to resist. Youth were abducted and forced into service. Chaos reigned. People fled in fear. But in the midst of this darkness, God was moving. The day after the coup, a man named Ong reached out to one of our global partners from inside Myanmar. He said, "We want to learn the principles of the discipleship-making movement." Our global partner didn't know if Ong was legitimate, but after tests and prayer, he sensed the Spirit's confirmation, and the training began. Ong trained 30 church planters, including his brother and his brother's partners in Mandalay. His brother's name was Martin. And in the middle of a civil war, one man rose to lead. This is Martin. Martin carries a story of faith, a story written in crisis, but lived in power. With the discipleship-making movement tools in hand, Martin and his team began launching Discovery Bible studies across the region, 50 in the first year. They grew to 80 studies. But then, the war scattered their leaders. In Rakhine State, entire networks were lost. 20 groups vanished. Then came COVID, then a flood, and then in March of this year, a 7.7 earthquake struck Mandalay. Our partner called to check in. Martin had returned. His words, "We are fine, and now is the time." Despite every setback, they pressed forward. They brought aid, they brought hope, and 80 new Bible studies were born, this time after the quake. But then, tragedy. In July, Martin was diagnosed with liver cancer. And by mid-August, he was gone, just 6 weeks. Leadership wondered, is this the end? When the leader dies, does the movement die too? Martin's answer? Do not stop. Finish the work. And they did. The day after he passed, his team picked up the mantle. No pause, no retreat. Martin had trained his team. Martin was trained because Ong reached out in faith. And Ong reached out because God stirred him the very day after the coup. Ordinary people in a broken land, led by an unstoppable God. Every story matters because every story tells his story.